A review for Papillon, 1973, with Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman, directed by Franklin Schaffner. So, a French convict in the 1930s befriends a fellow criminal as the two of them begin serving their sentence in the South American penal colony on Devil's Island, which inspires the man to plot his escape. So this is a great movie. Based on a true story. I mean, from Henri Charrier. He says he was convicted for a crime he didn't commit in France. The murder of a pimp. And then they ship him and Dustin Hoffman and others to French Guiana, which I think the French still control to this day. I think only like 250,000 people live there. It's like one of their last colonies, but anyways, this movie is brutal. You know, even right away when they're on the ship, it's just terrible. It's dirty. They're in a massive storm. People are trying to kill Dustin Hoffman because he is he made fake French bonds in 1928, and a lot of people invested in them and they lost everything. So he has a bunch of people that hate him, and he has a bunch of money stashed away, including on him. You know, like in his stomach. That apparently in prison they do a lot. So people are trying to kill him, and I guess, cut him open and get to the money inside of him. But he kind of makes a deal with Steve McQueen where if you protect me, then I'll give you some money. And Steve McQueen's like, get me a boat and supplies, and I'm gonna escape. Because he throughout this movie, he just continuously tries to escape to seek his freedom. And this is spoilers. I watched this movie a long time ago, but I liked it. I just rewatched it. I thought it was really good. It's a little long. It's like over 2.5 hours, but it's a very good good movie. Written by Dalton Trumbo, Lorenzo Semple Jr., and then Henri, the guy who it's based on, Papillon. And he says he was convicted because he had a butterfly tattoo. That's why he's called Papillon. And it was the person who fingered him pointed him out. It was a mistake because of that tattoo. But yeah, Steve McQueen's great in this. It's probably the best performance I've seen from him. I mean, the things he goes through is incredible. He's beaten. He tries to escape. He's thrown in solitary confinement. They're in the middle of nowhere in French Guiana, so there's really like nowhere to run to either. Like, the waters are shark infested. It's just crazy. There's bugs and diseases, malaria. So yeah, I definitely recommend it to anyone. It's got a nice quick pace too, even though it's a little long, but there's a lot going on, so I can understand that. There's no way you could tell this like in an hour and a half. But if you could do me a favor and smash that like button, it'd be great. It really helps the channel. So yeah, Steve McQueen, great. Dustin Hoffman's great in it. He's the more timid, afraid person. He doesn't really want to escape. He does try to escape with him once. That is the second escape attempt. The first one, he's basically kind of just he is trying to save Dustin Hoffman's life because a guard is going to kill him, so that he attacks the guard, and then he runs and gets betrayed. In fact, he gets betrayed multiple times, and then he's put into solitary confinement because the rules are the first escape attempt, you get 3 years of solitary confinement, and the second, is it 5 or 7 years? I think it may be 7 years in solitary confinement. It's like brutal, man. Like, they even cut off like the access to the sun, because when he's in there, Dustin Hoffman is secretly paying off someone to give him coconuts, because the food's terrible, so you're almost like starving to death too. And then he won't. And then they find the guy who runs the place finds out that that's happening, and he won't tell him. Who's helping him out? So they, on the top of his cage, they block out the sun. He starts going insane. He starts eating bugs. Like, there's a scene where there's like one beam of light in the middle, and he's looking up at it, like laughing about how he eats bugs. And it's like after, the first, I mean, he's in there for 3 years, and he's kind of gone insane, and looks like he's aged like 10, 20 years in just 3. But yeah, great performance by Steve McQueen. He wasn't nominated for this, which is kind of surprising. But I don't know, maybe the Academy Awards, they just never really thought of him as a serious actor, unfortunately. They're kind of snobs, really. But I mean, the year was pretty tough. It's Jack Lemmon Save the Tiger 1. I've never even heard of that. Like, what is that? Save the Tiger, drama film. Traumatized by combat in World War II and overwhelmed by his business and life pressures, he is obsessed with his baseball-loving youth. I don't know. Marlon Brando, Last Tango in Paris. Never seen that, but there is a really messed up backstory on that movie, which I won't get into, but you could look it up. It involves Marlon Brando and a French baguette, and it's messed up. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm surprised they almost didn't like shun that movie, but yeah, I guess they loved it. So Marlon Brando, Last Tango in Paris. Jack Nicholson, The Last Detail. That is a good movie. I'd say this is a better movie though, but Al Pacino, Serpico, Robert Redford, The Sting. It's definitely some tough competition, but I don't know. I think he deserved a nomination, even if he didn't win. He won a Golden Globe. He was nominated. Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Steve McQueen. Jerry Goldsmith. Jerry Goldsmith did the score, and he was nominated for that. Let's see who The Sting won Best Score or Best Music. So, but yeah, definitely a tough year. There's a lot of good movies this year in 1973. But yeah, and then in the end, he gets out, and he gets kind of nursed back to health. Dustin Hoffman gives him, because he wouldn't give his name, which would have got Dustin Hoffman into trouble. So he kind of owes him a life debt, because he also saved his life earlier. That's why he's in solitary. So he kind of nurses him back to health. He gives him like soup with real meat in it. That scene's pretty great when he's like eating the soup, and then he's like, oh man, this is like so good. Like actual real meat. Um, but yeah, great performance. Everything, once he gets into solitary, it's just like, like incredible. Like, he looks terrible. It's good makeup. And Dustin Hoffman's really good too, as the kind of meeker, weaker member, but he's got the money. And then they do a second escape attempt, which Dustin Hoffman wasn't gonna participate in, but he ends up now saving Steve McQueen, really, because this guard is gonna sound the alarm. He beats up the guard, and then he gets another person sees this, so then he has to go on the run with Steve McQueen. That one lasts a while, but Dustin Hoffman unfortunately breaks his ankle. They get a boat, but his ankle's totally messed up. There's a brutal scene where they have to, I don't know if they're like slicing off a boil or what that's on his leg, but oh man. And they have a bunch of rum, so he's like getting them drunk. And then this other guy that's with them heats up a knife, slices the boil, but that's what you think of with this movie. It's just brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I mean, even if you get depressed, it's like, well, at least I'm not in French Guiana, and he has a life sentence too. I think they both have life sentences. Where the guards hate me. It's just the absolute worst conditions. Little to no health care, no good food, nothing, insects, poisonous snakes, nowhere to run, so think of it that way. They remade it in 2017. I didn't even know they did that, which I have no interest in watching. It has Remy Malek. I'm not a really big fan of Remy Malek, honestly. Charlie Hunnam, I'm not a massive fan of him either. I mean, I guess in some ways Charlie Hunnam kind of looks like Steve McQueen. I assume he's playing the Steve McQueen role. But I just have no interest in that. I don't think that movie did anything. So, directed by Michael Knorr. I don't know. This was directed by Franklin Schaffner, who I don't think I've seen any of his other movies. Oh, he did The Boys from Brazil. I watched that a while ago. Sphinx, Lionheart, 1987, and it's not the one with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Looks like a fantasy movie that I've never heard of. So, oh, he directed Patton. Okay. Oh, and the original Planet of the Apes. I've seen that. I like that. So, I've seen Planet of the Apes. I've seen The Boys from Brazil. But that's about it. His career goes back to 1952. So, but yeah, I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a Steve McQueen fan. It's a great performance by him. Steve McQueen insisted on performing the stunt where he jumps off a cliff into the water. Wow, that's actually him. That's at the end of the movie. One of the most exhilarating experiences of my life. Yeah, because in the end, they get caught again, and I think it's 7 years, and then they both have to do 7. Dustin Hoffman would do 3 because it's his first one he get caught for. So he does 3. McQueen does 7. And then after that, he looks just terrible. But they're both on this island with a few guards. There's almost no guards. There's few people on the island. It doesn't seem that bad because they each have their own house. They have, Dustin Hoffman has a garden. He has like pigs and chickens and stuff. He kind of has a little farm going. And him and Steve McQueen, drink together, eat food. So at least there's like decent food. Hoffman has a garden with like tomatoes and carrots and I think onions too. So it's not that bad, but still Steve McQueen, Papillon wants freedom. He doesn't care if he dies trying to get it, which I could respect. And Dustin Hoffman he's Steve McQueen's like, no, I'm gonna escape again. I figured out how to do it. They have a bunch of coconuts and they float, and they have a giant giant bags of coconuts, and with ropes tied around them. And he's like, we need to throw it in the water at the right time so that the tides take us out. And he said it's like 30 miles until the mainland. And Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman says, okay, I'll go with you. But you don't really believe he's gonna. And Dustin Hoffman doesn't. But Papillon does, and in the end, he does reach freedom. And he died in 1973. He was present for the shoot in Jamaica, but he died of lung cancer in July 1973. A few months before the film was edited and released. He never got to see the finished product. But still, the guy lived, for what? Over 30 years as a free man. So Dustin Hoffman had to wear corrective contact lenses so that he could see through the thick glasses he had to wear. Let's see what Roger Ebert gave it. Oh, he only gave it 2 out of 4 stars. Oh. Guess he didn't really like it. It says, once they arrived in prison, Papillon makes a bargain. He'll be at Dega's bodyguard if Dega will finance an escape try. This Dega agrees to do, although it is hard to understand or even sense the emotional bond between the two men. To paraphrase Pauline Kael, McQueen underplays and Hoffman tries to underplay him. The movie slogs on like Sophia Loren hauling that cannon through the mud. Something has gone wrong when you want the hero to escape simply so that the movie can be over. Wow, I don't agree at all. At some point in the movie's pre-production, the theory apparently was held that we'd get interested in the contrast between Papillon, the man of action, and Dega, the gentle intellectual. The chemistry of McQueen and Hoffman are supposed to help. That was the theory, but in practice, we don't care because the characters never really escape as people. Hoffman is using his limp again for Midnight Cowboy, and McQueen squints into the sun a lot, and that's about it. Yeah, I definitely don't agree, but while shooting in Jamaica, Dustin Hoffman met Sir Paul McCartney, who was vacationing in Montego Bay. One evening, Hoffman invited McCartney to dinner and challenged him to write a song about anything. Since patron Pablo Picasso had just died, Hoffman requested that McCarthy compose a song around Picasso's dying words. Drink to me, drink to my health. You know I can't drink anymore. McCarthy created a demo on the spot of the song. So he wrote a song about Picasso. The film was shot in sequence, unusual for a production of this size, but allowing Steve McQueen the luxury of building his character in stages. Oh, that's cool. Steve McQueen and Hoffman did have some difficulties despite their determination to behave professionally towards each other. When Hoffman began one speech at breakneck speed, McQueen stopped him and said, "Less, man, less. Toss that shit out. You don't need it. Keep it simple." Another time, Hoffman invited a few close friends to watch the day filming. McQueen had him thrown off the set. Nevertheless, Hoffman called their relationship a friendly rivalry. Later said his co-star was a wonderful guy. Off-screen, he was the nicest, classiest man. On the set itself, he became very intense. Another time, however, he referred to McQueen as that son of a bitch. So, Dustin Hoffman's driver hit a pedestrian and caused serious injury. The actor, not the driver, began receiving death threats from the locals. The crew took advantage of the abundant marijuana that was readily available in Jamaica. Not content to merely smoke it, they boiled it down to mix in drinks at a party. Several people got sick from that, particularly the director, causing a day's delay in shooting. Ooh, that's hilarious. The movie was originally given an R rating by the MPAA because of its violence, but Allied artists argued for and won a PG rating. An Illinois father sued after taking his son to see the movie. A judge threw out the case, reasoning that the parent's guidance rating implies a warning to parents. It's ridiculous. There's like no nudity. It's just like, yeah, this is French Guiana in 1930s in a prison camp. The French government claims that much of the story is fabricated. Well, I think they would, because it would embarrass them. Henri Cherie was incarcerated in Saint Laurent and may have escaped from there, but no records exist of him serving any time on Devil's Island. So I wouldn't really trust them. So Dustin Hoffman based his character on the co-writer Dalton Trumbull, particularly his withdrawn and shy mannerisms, which inspired Hoffman when meeting Trumbull for the first time. Yeah, there's a movie about Dalton Trumbo, how he was blacklisted because he was a communist, but I never seen that. Dalton Trumbo never grumbled about the demanding schedule, but illness forced him to leave the production before the script was completed. He was diagnosed with lung cancer. Erasing any possibility of return to the set, the script was completed by Trumbo's son, Christopher, who already had one movie and some television credits. So, reportedly, Steve McQueen earned $2 million and Dustin Hoffman earned $1.25 million for their roles. The prison was set constructed in Falmouth, Jamaica. It was 800 feet long, so it's mostly shot in Jamaica, I guess. But what do I know the difference between, the look of Jamaica versus French Guiana? I don't know. The film is considered to be actor Steve McQueen's final great role in motion pictures. Yeah, because unfortunately he died in 1980 because I think he had terrible cancer because he was really into racing and they would wear these asbestos suits. And asbestos is, highly cancerous. I don't think they knew that at the time. And in 1980 he died pretty young, so it's too bad. But I would check it out though, Papillon, if you haven't. I think it's, great performances, not just them two, but other people as well, but it mainly just focuses on them two, and Steve McQueen is the star. He's Papillon. So, but that's about it though. I'll see you next time.